Okay. How do I zoom this thing out? Anyway. This semester was pretty bad. Pretty bad. Could have been worse. It could have been worse, but it was still pretty bad. I think you'd call it a C average, because it depends on how they grade it. I actually am kind of worried because in the past, I went to my advising meeting. Oh gosh. Went to my advising meeting, and apparently the classes I drop for which a W was marked count toward, or rather against, my GPA. So even though I dropped it, reflects poorly on me. So this semester I started out taking 5 classes. Started with 5, dropped 1, down to 4. Pretty confident I got an A in one of them. I feel pretty lucky, to be honest. I wasn't sure whether I was. I only took 1 math class, even though I should have taken more. This semester I thought I'd get all my core classes out of the way. I thought I would, I had a bunch of core requirements that I need to fulfill. So, a literature class, a writing class, some philosophy courses, and a math class. That's what I took, right? So it turns out I don't know how to write. That's been my you could say my defining struggle for this semester, and that's probably something I should carry forward. Writing, you have to figure out. Because the struggle I had was that struggle I had was it happened in it happened in my literature class. It happened as pretty bad. I had it pretty badly too in my writing class as well. And not to mention the philosophy course, which said 30% write an essay, 30% write an essay, do a presentation, 30% write an essay. So I failed that one. What's back there? Interesting. I like this building. It's very tidy. It looks really like sort of artificial. It looks kind of. I mean, yeah, it looks like a workplace, which is good, which is good. It's not a place where you're supposed to be comfortable, but like it's also the place where people are supposed to be comfortable. So I'm just sort of confused with it. Like I don't know what kind of person designs a place that makes people feel comfortable, but it's also like it's a workplace. You're not supposed to be comfortable. You're not supposed to be comfy and cozy in a workplace, right? I mean, it's not a workplace. It's a school. Don't get confused. So yeah, that's something. The writing issue is something I'm gonna have to take forward. The writing. And for my writing class, somehow I got caught up in the production of a documentary. Which makes me interested. I mean, I think it would be fun to have some sort of have a filmmaking group in some capacity. I had a my idea for this was more fleshed out before. I'm gonna make it. Let's make it a presentation. I'm just gonna talk to the camera. I'll stare at the camera. And so yeah, talk to the soulless, terrifying camera. My hair looks very flat. It's flat because it's weighed down because it's too long. It's too long. So yeah, writing about what? I can just move this. How much do we get there? How much? Half. The middle half. About right there. I don't even know how tall I am, but that's probably fine. Let's throw books at Myrtle because she can't feel it. Harry Potter? You know, I'm superior to other people for reasons that I don't understand. After school, I think of all the education that I've missed. But then my homework was never quite like this. I got it bad, got it bad, got it bad. You're not allowed to listen to this. that was interesting. That was the live skin cancer. That was the I just watched the video for a song called "Hot for Teacher" by Van Halen. Van Halen, and it was it was interesting. I I mean the singers, the bandmates, they were they were young. I mean, you could tell that like it was the original video because the people were so young. It was just so like the plot was about this kid, uh, this weird kid who goes to school and everyone he feels out of place among all the other wild people. It was very dumb. It was kind of it was really very silly to me, which is annoying because I like the song. I mean, like I look at this. No, this is what I see. All right, this is what I see. There was the band members started doing this like this cute little dance. There's four of them, and on every set of four measures, they would like do a move and like delayed, so like one would move, and then second measure, the second would move, and like the fourth guy would be was a little bit like 3 feet off to the left, and he was like doing these just really really silly and generic dance moves. It looked like it was something that some middle schoolers would make, like some talented middle schoolers, but you can't. You can't be a record label and release this. That was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. It wasn't that bad. It was pretty bad. Like, this is what happens when people don't care about what they make, okay? This is what happens when because like the dance moves were just so obviously silly, right? And it cut between this, moderately stylistic sort of montage of this nerd among all these other wild teenagers in school, and they had some moody shots of just some older teens of the time period, wearing the clothes, and that was fine. It doesn't take, and that's of interest in itself. That's essentially photography, because it's there's little artistry on the part of the video makers when it comes to those shots. And that was easily my favorite part because the outfits were interesting and the you know the hairstyles and the attitudes and everything. I I kind of want to look at them again. Oh my gosh, that video was horrible. I couldn't finish it. Okay. How do I want to say what I'm trying to say? So the shots where there was all four band members. That was okay. So that was easily the worst shot in the video. The worst category of shot. By that I mean there were like two or three of them, and that was just the worst thing I've ever. I cannot imagine it. It's still incredible to me that something so bad would be in that video. Something so. Like if you don't care what you make, like you. I don't know. I guess I'm used to the sort of the ironic. Yeah, it's a haha. Well, it's like Rick and Morty. It's like the TV episodes of Rick and Morty where they're joking, where it's funny to them, and it's part of the joke. It's part of the joke that they don't care what they make. It's like ha, ha. I guess that's what they're making fun of. I guess this video is the sort of thing that they're directing their joke toward. Because it's self-aware and this has absolutely no. It's just trash. It's just. It's like It's like somebody wrote down on a piece of paper, just kind of scribbles on the paper like this. It's like this, right? Then they crumple it up in a ball, and they put it in a little box, and that box processes. The box sort of like liquefies it, right? It blends it up, and it sends it through the tubes, and then the tubes go to your TV screen. It's hard to think of a. It's good to. It's just a good idea to get into the practice of using metaphors that aren't obscene. Wholesome. You got to be wholesome. This is what happens when not only when people don't care about what they do. Like this is supposed to be art, okay? It's music. It's art, you know? You're trying to the point of it is to have good taste. The point of it is to the point of art is to know what is good and then make it, okay? The point of art is to have an interesting and good idea and then immortalize it, okay? There's just nothing interesting or good in this video. I got 50 and 100 rounds too. 30. And that's what, people go to school for this. They go to school because, like, obviously, I want to say that the dance sequence that I'm so annoyed about was like not made by someone by a professional. Okay, I guess like I want to say that was kind of the point. I want to say that it was the band themselves that made up the dance. Okay, I want to believe that it was just they said this is our song. We want to do something in the video. Let's come up with this high school corny dance, right? And that's fine. Okay, that's whatever. I mean, it's bad. Like I am not happy that I looked at it, but it's fine. That's not really art. It's just marking your territory. And that was bad, but if it was the band themselves, then at least that's a reason, okay? At least that's a reason. And then if that was what the band did, then what the rest of the video, which was better, which is what the band didn't do, which is something that they hired somebody to do, and it was still bad, okay? They hired someone. They went to an agency. They like people pull in the industry pulled strings. They talked to their friends. They went to they went through their connections. A friend of a friend got these video makers, these filmers and quote unquote cinematographers. They gave them this job to make this Hot for Teacher video. These people went to school and what the theme of what I'm trying to say is what else are people with no talent supposed to do? And there's just lots of, there's such thing as a bell curve. There's such thing as a bell curve, okay? There's such thing as a, it goes like this. It goes like, if I can find my finger on the screen, whoop, it goes like this. Okay? There's the average, and then the below average, and then the above average, right? There's 300 million people in the country, and by definition, half of them, 150 million people, right? By definition, are below average. Okay. Like, what are they supposed to do? And what I was trying to say is, like, in this case they went to film school, right? They learned all the techniques. I go to my math class. Math class is not a place for geniuses. Okay, math class is. I mean, it's not. You can learn rules. You can. That's. I mean, you want to direct the geniuses toward the math classes. Yeah, sure. That's a place for them to go. But that's not like you don't go to a math class and that's where geniuses are. Math classes, and like most. I mean, most fields, like it's education. It's not innovation by definition is special cases. The rest of it is all upkeep and preservation of traditions. And what I'm trying to say is that, like, some film school student nerd who didn't feel like making anything original said, "Oh, okay, so I went to I learned all these techniques, and I get to make I get to." I get to run down the checklist of all my techniques, and we get to combine them. Oh, wow! We run down the checklist of all the different techniques, and somebody's gonna pay me to do an Eddie Van Halen video. Yeah, that's what math is. You learn the rules, and then you teach people the rules, and you hope that somebody is going to look at them in the right way. But it's not about that's not what intelligence is, right? Okay. You don't go to college to be smart. You don't. I mean, I guess you do, because it exposes you to different things you can combine, but that's not what the college doesn't, like, show you how to be smart. Okay. What the college is for is for preservation of things that we already know. And so, to be successful by college standards, by no means, it is by no means an indicator of it's like people who think they're interesting by name dropping philosophers. Okay. Spinoza said this. That's what I watched the. I cannot watch. Uh, the philosophy. The YouTubers. Philosophy Tube is a YouTuber, and I can't watch his stuff because he's so insufferable. He says it in the most he he has nothing like original to say. He just quotes other people in the smarmiest tone that imaginable. You cannot outsmart this guy. I can't watch him anymore. He's what I mean. He says I spent all this on a philosophy education. Now I will give it away for free. That's what he says. That's what he says on his YouTube bio. He gives it away for free. And it's a very helpful sort of illustration for how useless it is. Didn't mean to say useless. Should have said worthless. That was what I meant to say. Lost my train of thought. Bad teeth are in. They're in. They're in fashion. Just like, they're coming up next. People are gonna just go chisel, break pieces off because it's in fashion, and I'm a trendsetter. So what are people supposed to do? I can't. People who don't have. I mean, you can having interesting and innovative ideas. That's not like a prerequisite. That's not a requisite for being a good person. That's not a requisite for living a worthwhile life. That's not even a requisite to make a living. You just learn job skills, and then some other person who does have an idea will tell you how to use them. Okay. Some other person who can take who's willing to, who's got the idea and who is willing to shoulder the risk. They'll tell you what to do with your skills. They'll tell you what to do. That's fine, unless you think you're smarter than them, which is me. I think I'm smarter than everyone. I think that's true. I don't know if that's true. And it just annoys me just to think of like how much of the world is comprised of these of people who don't like have interesting ideas. What do? I mean they just live in this corner of the world where no one by corner of course I mean middle. The world is centered around them. That's not true. What is their place in the world? I mean, it's average, okay? That's so. I mean, that's not a term of denigration. That is not an insult. Average is fine, you know, because it's fine because it's normal. It has to be the norm. We have to expect. That's what we expect. Okay, that's what we have to expect people to be average. And so you don't say wow, you're really average. You say wow, you're not average. It's a surprise. Okay, that's what a surprise is. It's a deviation from the norm. So when somebody's not average, I just don't know. I don't know what the expectation is. I don't know what it is that I'm supposed to break. Oh, this cultural expectation, that cultural expectation. 100% of the time that somebody references a cultural expectation, it's just there's no evidence to support it. It's like referencing your fear. Okay, it's like referencing a personal inhibition that you're projecting onto society. You're saying, "Oh, I feel it, therefore it exists in society." I shouldn't make those voices. They say, "Oh, I feel it, therefore it exists in society." How's that? That's better. I feel it, therefore it exists in society. I'll add a little bit of intonation, over articulating every single thing I say. Do 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 do. Listen, let's watch guess just leave the art to the artists. You know that rock though, the 80s rock. The AC/DC and all that. It reminds me of something, and I should listen to more of it just to figure out what it reminds me of. Can you get my fingerprint on here? Get my fingerprint? Can you get it? Huh. Well, of course. That would be funny to refer to Chinese girls as anime girls. I don't know. Is that to say that? So, for example, like, should we not teach people English unless they've demonstrated artistic inclinations because they might write bad poetry or they might write a bad novel or something? I am a sensitive artist. I am a sensitive artist.